Okay, now I'm going to be showing how to build the app for SteamVR on Windows. I'm not going to show the other ones right now because they're not really set up for it. And for Android and Oculus, for a Quest headset, currently there is a compilation error from some code I changed specifically for the Windows version to work earlier. So we're not going to go over that, but it's the same exact process. Basically, I added a build submenu up here. It's just called build. You can manually build by doing build and run, or you can come here and do build and run. And then if you do build, you can manually run the application, or build and run, it automatically runs the application. Build and run is still useful if you're already on the correct platform that you set here. But it is a lot easier with the build here because it does a few extra things for you. But this is still completely viable, especially whenever you're just testing things. You're not actually shipping any sort of packages like a .zip or an APK. And then this is also useful for whenever you're building for Android or most likely iOS, because if you actually switch to Android, you can select a device on this drop down, and the default device usually works. But let's say I have a Quest headset in here, and assuming I've already switched to this platform using this or this maybe, but definitely use this basically every time. But you can whenever you hit build and run, it will automatically upload the APK to the device and install it and then run it, assuming you have the correct developer options set up, including USB debugging. So yeah, but we'll go back to here. Just leave it. So to build, you have this build drop down. You just select the platform and then the operating system. It's just like the platform switching between platforms. In fact, the build ones, if I were to do SteamVR and Windows, it would automatically switch to the platform SteamVR Windows. Like it would do this, and then it would build the app and then automatically package it for GitHub. So there is also a build all, and currently this only builds for the platforms we're working with right now. It doesn't do actually all of them. It doesn't do like SteamVR for Linux or Mac OS. It just does Steam Windows or SteamVR Windows, Oculus Android, and I think also Google Android, although that might be turned off since we're only focusing on the most popular versions right now. So you can use build all. This is a little bit buggy, as I've said before, with the platforms. Sometimes it just doesn't switch correctly, or sometimes you boot up the app or you boot up the editor and it doesn't remember the settings correctly. So sometimes this doesn't work. Sometimes you just have to manually do them, which is a bit of a pain. Maybe there's actually a bug in my code that would fix all this, but so far it's been half and half. Sometimes build all works, sometimes it doesn't. It usually works straight after you restart the editor, and yeah. There's also a clean all, which will destroy or delete all the builds that have already been done. So you can click here, open build directory, and I have a Steam VR folder here. I actually accidentally started a build earlier. Also, the build directory is actually located inside the root project folder if you ever need to find it manually for whatever reason, but you can just do that and it'll open automatically on Windows. So let's go ahead and actually compile this for SteamVR and Windows. Just give it a second here. It shouldn't take too long. Okay, we're basically there. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, there's a couple of warnings. Not a big deal. Yeah, that's because of the way I load assets depending on operating system. It's or on platform. It's not a big deal. Something I haven't fixed or found another way to do it. But you can see here, it succeeded, and it says it copied the build directory. Here, that's just something that OpenVR does. But you also saw that Windows or File Explorer opened automatically, and this is the build. You can actually just run the app by double-clicking this. I'm not going to do that because it'll mess up my microphone with SteamVR. But you can also notice that it packaged it into a .zip. And it's correctly named too. It says SteamVR Windows CADModelViewer.zip. I added this to the build menu to make it easier to add to the Git repo. So let's go take a look at the releases. And you can just see what I mean. You have these downloads, and then clicking on one of these is just the URL for one of these. It just organizes it a bit better. But you could just come down here and read and see which one's yours. And you can see it's a .zip. It would be very easy just to add new releases here. Also, in the future, you could possibly automatically upload them to GitHub upon hitting build, since it's our own tool. And yeah, let me go ahead and show clean all. And there it is. They're gone.